In this episode of Dolce Vita, entice your taste buds with some exquisite Japanese dishes. Luxury in luscious greenery within a short stroll from your doorstep. Take a look at some dazzling jewelry pieces. Add a splash of color to your home with some beautiful flowers. And appreciate art through the eyes of an avid collector. Japanese cuisine is famous for its wide variety of dishes. From omakase, teppanyaki to izakaya, every dish has its own distinctive character. In Japan, restaurants often specialize in only one type of food, but here in Hong Kong, you get to enjoy a broader range of authentic Japanese food and drinks, all in one place. The chef dry-aged the fish for at least 7 days to remove the excess moisture so that you could taste the tuna's clean and subtle flavor. The smoked fatty tuna is garnished with whole mustard seeds and served with a house-made sauce. This meticulously prepared tuna is a real treat to your taste buds. The appetizer here is a celebration of premium Japanese ingredients. The minced wagyu and tuna are paired with caviar and garlic from Aomori. And the crunchy cod flakes further elevated the texture of the dish. Each bite is gratifying.
Alright, here's some fun facts about tuna. Apparently, tuna was not a very popular ingredient used in Japanese cuisine before the mid-20th century, because an old Japanese name for tuna was shibi, and shibi has a very similar sound to death in the Japanese language. So tuna was considered not so lucky back in those days.
It's interesting how things change with time, because for sashimi lovers today, toro is definitely in the top of their must-eat list. And when you get a really nice cut, it's actually melt-in-your-mouth goodness.
Traditionally, monaka is a sweet treat made of azuki bean paste, sandwiched between two thin crisp wafers made from mochi. Instead of serving it sweet, the chef used fagua as the filling. The fagua is slow-cooked in the house-made chicken broth. Complemented with the tangy dried wakayama persimmon, it brings a perfect balance of flavors. Abalone is a delicious treat from the sea that is loved by many. Besides eating it raw or char-grilled, cooking it with seaweed is also a great way to enjoy this umami-packed seafood. With a natural briny taste, the tender and sweet abalone is just mouth-watering.
As soon as this bowl hits the table, you can already tell it's going to be amazing. Now, not only did the chef cook the abalone in a special broth, he also added this creamy sauce, which is made from abalone liver. The taste is incredible. Give me a bowl of rice and I'll finish it all.
Well, I've always loved fresh persimmons. Who knew that dried persimmons and foie gras pate would go so well together? There's a perfect balance between the sweetness of the dried persimmons and the richness of the pate.
When it comes to cooking chicken skewers, no one does it as scrumptiously as the Japanese. The yakitori specialists master the art of skewing chicken and cook the grilled chicken to perfection. From the chicken comb, tail to offal, the chef uses every chicken part, creating an exceptional and delicious dish. The rice dish here was inspired by the famous Hong Kong-style clay pot rice. The chef steamed the semi-cooked Niigata rice with slices of lightly fried wagyu beef. Topped with uni and finished off with a house-made soy sauce, the fluffy rice and flavorful ingredients created a perfect food combination that simply makes you want a second serve. Spending time in nature and achieving balance in life is easier than you think. When you live in a resort-style seaside residence that offers luscious greenery, just a step away from your home, bringing nature into your everyday life is as easy as falling off a log.
Our living environment has a direct bearing on our quality of life. That's why a lot of people spend time designing, renovating, and decorating their homes.
That's right, the design of our home is very important. But aside from that, the surrounding neighborhood and environment are also equally important.
As you may already know, nature heals. Spending time in nature or even viewing scenes of it can make you feel less stressed and happy. That's why many people choose a natural or garden setting to retreat when they're feeling stressed. Indulge yourself in a pleasing environment with flowers and trees that will surely perk you up and nourish your soul.
I'm the type of girl who likes to wear jewelry pieces that I can think of right away. They might not be statement pieces, but they're go-to pieces that elevate my style every day, everywhere. So I like to wear necklaces and rings, and they're easy to put on and easy to wear. Can you tell us about the latest jewelry trend?
Yes, the latest jewelry trend definitely is more colors. Happy colors. It seems that with people being cooped up at home for the past few years, people are looking for something that will brighten up their mood. And so we do have more and more clients coming in for colors.
And seeing this collection, I see that these are very bold and colorful jewelry pieces. Can you tell us more about the design concept?
The series, actually, the main inspiration comes from the Silk Road.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah. It brings and dates back to the family's heritage on the Ottoman Empire, how they had been living and moving along the Silk Road throughout hundreds of years. Eventually, they settled down in Geneva. Yeah, the concept comes from this area where, for instance, with the 4 elements for this time, we have the fire element, which is really just the heat in the Silk Road that you see, and the spices that were traded within the Silk Road. And then you will have the sky element, where we use a lighter colored, fun type of blue, softer hues of blue, to depict the sky. Of course, we also have the water element. We use a darker blue and different shades of blue to talk and submerge into a deeper sea.
And actually, this one caught my eye right away. Is this your favorite piece? We were talking about it earlier.
Yes. So this piece is quite unique. As you can see, the design is very bold. We use different tones of blue and different materials. We love to play around with the different shapes and then bring it into harmony, and bringing the rare gemstones with a very unique setting. The way we set it is just to put 2 stones lightly embracing one another. So it just gently sits on top of the other, creating almost like a floating effect. So when you look at it, you don't really see the gold in it, but you only focus on the stones.
And I really like how the colors of the gems, they really glow out.
This is a semi-precious stone that's very rare, but not only that, with a Paraiba, it's electric neon blue.
And I really like how gems bring out the character of the person that's wearing it. And this one is a very iconic piece. Us ladies, we like to dress up a lot with different types of clothing, different colors, and different jewelry pieces. After talking to Rachel, I think what's important is we have to find jewelry pieces that are quite versatile. And it doesn't matter what color or what design you pick, as long as you feel beautiful, confident, and comfortable in it.
After the break, check out tips to decorate your home with flowers. And explore the world of art collecting.
things in life that seems to be set in stone. Could be a decision or the color of a product. Once the decision is made or the product is produced, there seems to be nothing we can do other than just accepting it. However, we often forget that the sky's the limit, and we can change just about anything with a little bit of creativity. Yep, even the color of fresh cut blooms. Hi, Dr. Solomon. We always like to buy fresh flowers to decorate our homes. Can you share with us some creative tips on how to make the most out of these fresh cut blooms?
Yes, it's very ordinary sometimes when we buy flowers like roses or like carnations and stuff like that. But we can always make it even more special by putting it in different colors and dyeing it into the colors that you want.
Oh, so we can actually dye flowers at home ourselves?
Yes, you can actually change the colors of the flowers to whatever color you want just by adding food colorings.
How does the process work? Does it take long?
It doesn't really take too long. It depends on the flowers really. Say for example, tulips would take about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. A rose would take a slightly longer and a lily takes even longer.
So from start to finish, how does the whole process work?
It actually is very simple. So take tulips for an example, is that we can cut the stem first and then we leave it on the table without any water for say 30 minutes so that it's starved of water, and then we can just put it in the coloring and it can drink it up and it will actually change the color. You can actually watch it change colors within 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Oh,
it's
wow.
a lot of fun.
So you could basically dye any type of flower?
Basically, yes, especially light colored flowers such as like white roses, white tulips, and anything white, but not too waxy. Say for example, painter's palettes or hydrangeas are not too suitable.
Fresh flowers bring color and liveliness to your space, adding a nice touch to any room. But the downside is that flowers don't last for very long. I wonder what unique ways Dr. Solomon has to offer when it comes to preserving flowers. So how do we keep the magic of flowers alive?
It's actually very easy. When you receive a bouquet of flowers, when you want to keep it for longer, all you need to do is just to hang it upside down like that. Hang it on somewhere where air can circulate around it, and then it will actually dry into these perfectly formed dried flowers.
They look very perfect.
They are, aren't
And
they?
they smell very good too.
Yeah, there you go. You've got a perfect table full of dried flowers, all tailor-made for you to arrange your own dried flower arrangement.
Beautiful. Let's do this.
When you have a vase such as this one, all you need is just flowers that you dry personally, and you just put it in, you know.
We can still cut the stems
Yeah,
like
you can cut the
usual.
stem. Yeah. Oops. But it's just slightly brittle, right?
So what else can we add to this?
What we can do is maybe adding some fruits as well as fragrance, you know, because a lot of people don't understand that dried flowers, other than looking like rustic or beautiful, is that it actually is a very good absorbent agent for any fragrance. You can actually put a lot of perfume on it as well, and it will actually act as a diffuser, and it adds a lot of perfume and aroma to your interior.
Using real flowers as a diffuser.
Yes.
That's quite special.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting to do that. Maybe you can try, you know, where there's some perfume here, you can just spray it on there, make sure that it's absorbed, and then it would diffuse the room with a lot of aroma.
But it originally has a smell already, right? Does that matter?
It actually has a smell, say for example dried roses, it has a small faint smell of dried rose. Every time you do this, it will last about like 14 days to 20 days.
And then I can change the perfume.
You can change it, you know, according to your mood, according to your interior, and you can turn it into a gift. Gift it to your friends.
So you mentioned about gifting. I see you have other fun arrangements too.
Yes, we do a lot of these fruits as well as berries arrangements, such as these tiny little pumpkins, which reminds you of fall and winter. And you've got all these little tiny apples, and we've got
They're
like
really
these
tiny.
Yeah, and then we've got these really lovely gooseberries as well. So all you need to do is to find the right box, line it with floral foam or anything that you want, just to give it some support. And then we can line it with these autumn leaves. And then we just line it to make it look like a forest floor. And then we can start putting our flowers as well as our fruits in it. And I've got some preserved rose here. These are dried roses as well. And we preserve them so that it keeps the texture. And we can add it together with our arrangement, and they will keep for a long, long time.
Wow. But how about the fruits? Will they last as well?
If they are not punctured, if the skin is intact, they usually last about a month, 2 months, you know. So probably by that time it will already be spring, so we have some other display for that. But it's a perfect way of gifting some piece of warmth and some piece of nature to anybody that you love.
Actually, very good for table decoration as well.
Anybody receive they must be very happy.
People love flowers for all sorts of reasons. Some people love them for their color, some for their shape, others for their smell. But personally, I love flowers because they remind us that nothing lasts forever. And that's why we have to cherish and treasure every moment that we have.
What does art mean to you? For art collector and entrepreneur Arthur de Villepin, art is an intimate conversation between the artist and the beholder. With his strong passion for art, he opened a gallery and devoted himself to nurturing a unique collecting model based on forging a long-term relationship with the artist.
Before I came here, I read a little bit about your upbringing and your background.
Yeah.
However, I'm actually more interested in how your background influenced your decisions in your career and why it led you to where you are now.
Well, in many ways actually, because you know I was born in Washington and I was raised in India, and then I lived most of my life in France, of course, and studied in UK. So that makes a very multicultural background. And of course, when I arrived in Hong Kong, the diversity of Hong Kong really reflected with me. It echoed really well with my personality and how I want to look at difference and how I love, you know, the diversity in people, but also the diversity in the geography of Hong Kong, whether it's the urban city that we all know, but also the wonderful beaches and the nature all around Hong Kong.
But why did you start this art group, this art gallery in Hong Kong? What makes Hong Kong such a good place for that?
It's amazing because I've been here now for 11 years in Hong Kong. Right now, I think one of the biggest changes that Hong Kong is changing from this financial city to, for me, a much more cultural city. And eventually, for me, as a gallerist, it brings me a more motivation to accompany this movement and to play my part in my role. The world was going so fast, so the gallery wanted to slow things down. The mission for us is that artists are here to enlighten us of another way to look at life. We want to bring more relationships, bring more curation.
So what is it about Myung-Hee Kang's work that attracts you?
Myung-Hee Kang reflects exactly what we are trying to say with this gallery. What's amazing with her art and what we're trying to show here is that it's universal. It means that everyone can understand, everyone can appreciate her art, but at the same time it can be very personal. Her paintings, they are a reminder of what's important, nature.
So I guess what you mean is it's about perception, isn't it?
Yes.
Because nature is the way it is, but it's also how you perceive it and therefore how you shape it, right?
Yes.
So speaking of which, what's next for you? How do you want to shape the future?
And when I first arrived in Hong Kong, I always knew that the city was made for me. I believe in the city. I just told you, Hong Kong, I think, is going through some tremendous change, and I think it's for the better. I want to accompany that change. I believe that Hong Kong is going to be one of the most important cities in the world, and I want to accompany that movement. The exact way I want to contribute is bring more artists, bring more relationships, build a community, of course made of the best, because I believe in the best, and create a new environment, a new ecosystem that can help build a lot of collections, curated collections with a certain vision of the world, and hopefully live happily with that community, making the best collectors and the best artists in Hong Kong, in Asia Pacific, and for the world.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
for your time.
I'm looking forward, it all sounds very exciting. I'm looking forward to this wave of just artistic, this wave of movement of artists. So thank you very much. Having spoken to Arthur today, I find him to be very easy to talk to and very down to earth. However, underneath that friendliness, I sense that there is a very determined and passionate entrepreneur with a very strong vision for the future. And I love this wonderful space that he has created, because it's really nice to be able to hide away from a very lively city like Hong Kong, and maybe we can just find some spiritual respite through art.
That's all the time we have for this week's episode. If you've enjoyed what we've introduced and want to find out more, simply check out our program website. Join us again in the coming weeks to discover the essence of a sweet life, as we will take you to experience Hong Kong's dynamic dining scene, stay on top of the latest happenings in town, and see the world through the eyes of the people from different backgrounds. Be sure to tune in again next time.